Yes, welcome everyone to the very first Antinatalist Advocacy Conference, Antinatalist Advocacy Conference 2023, Antinatalism at a Crossroads. By now, most of you will know that I'm John Williams, one of the co-founders of Antinatalist Advocacy, and I'll be hosting this conference with my other co-founder, Lawrence Anton, who will be hosting the first session shortly. Together, we'll be hosting this conference over this 2-day period, and we're very grateful that you've all decided to join us for it. I'll begin this opening address by introducing Antinatalist Advocacy as an organization. We seek to help protect sentient beings from the harms of coming into existence. We advocate refraining from creating new sentient beings, as well as improving the lives of those who exist now and will exist in the future. More specifically, we have 3 overarching aims that drive our actions. The first is to encourage the antinatalist community to adopt an evidence-based, impact-driven approach to activism, and we hope to grow the community's capacity to do good. We seek to address what we see as an antinatalist blind spot in communities that seek to have a positive impact on the world, and we seek to research and develop the contribution antinatalism can make in efforts to do good in the world. We hope that the discussions that will be presented this weekend at our first Antinatalist Advocacy Conference can help to contribute to these aims. So let's move on to the matter at hand. According to Wikipedia, antinatalism is a family of philosophical views that are critical of reproduction. They consider coming into existence as bad or deem procreation as immoral. According to the Oxford Dictionary, a crossroads is a point at which a crucial decision must be made, which will have far-reaching consequences. So why do we feel that this family of philosophical views and the communities that subscribe to them are at a point where crucial decisions must be made? While there are still definitional questions surrounding what antinatalism is, the central and widely accepted idea it posits is that coming into existence is a harm. From this, many questions spring up. Is antinatalism simply about humans not having children, or does it include other sentient beings? Does antinatalism have implications for only our reproductive choices, or are there other actions that we are obligated to take or not take under antinatalism? Should antinatalists pursue voluntary human extinction, or is this misguided? While we at Antinatalist Advocacy can't claim to have indisputable answers to all of these questions, we are, both during and after this conference, hoping to nurture conversations that provide valuable insight into how these questions could be answered. This inaugural Antinatalist Advocacy Conference comes against a backdrop of growing mainstream awareness of antinatalism. More antinatalists are engaging in advocacy, both in person and online, to try and bring their message to a broader audience. Groups like Stop Having Kids and the voluntary human extinction movement have gained mainstream media coverage, including some tweeted warnings from Elon Musk. As well as these events, there have been significant developments in each of the cause areas identified by antinatalist advocacy: human procreation, animal agriculture, wild animal suffering, and artificial sentience. And these developments highlight the urgency of coming to something of a general consensus on the foundational questions of antinatalism so that we can hope to have a positive impact on the world. So what are these significant developments? Last year, the human population surpassed 8 billion people for the first time. Despite the growing social recognition of veganism and animal rights activism, the number of farmed animals being brought into existence and slaughtered annually has continued to grow as the human race on the whole becomes more affluent. Growing concern about the environment has shone a light on the impact of our actions on the extraordinary large numbers of animals living in the wild. And what's more, recent advances in artificial intelligence, have raised the prospect of humans intentionally or unintentionally creating artificial sentience. We believe that antinatalists could have an important role to play in all of these issues. This isn't to say that the target of this conference is solely those who identify with the antinatalist label. People of all viewpoints can be motivated to protect beings from the harms that sentient existence puts us at risk of. And we believe that we should be open to engaging with those who share these motivations. Therefore, we advocate for building of bridges between our small but growing community and other communities where we align on specific issues, rather than seeking to exclude others who may not agree with the entirety of our antinatalist message. In the spirit of this, we would like to extend our gratitude to those who have made this conference possible. First off, the speakers, who have graciously given up their free time to participate. We would also like to thank the moderators for helping us make sure that the conference runs as smoothly as possible, and a huge thank you to the donor who kindly agreed to support the costs of running this conference. Lastly, I'd personally like to thank Lawrence, who's taken on by far the majority of the organising, and I think so far at least has done a grand job. So now let's introduce our speakers. In our first session, we'll be joined by philosopher David Pearce to make the case for genome reform and a biohappiness revolution. Next, we'll hear from activist Seb Alex about why antinatalists should consider the importance of animal rights. We'll then conclude today's conference with a talk from philosopher Matti Hairi about antinatalism and extinction. Tomorrow's session will begin with a talk from philosopher Oscar Horta about contraception and population ethics in welfare biology. We'll then be hosting antinatalist advocates Amanda Sukanik and Ash Wickerty and child-free advocate Shweta Ramkumar for a panel on building a healthy antinatalist community. We'll then conclude tomorrow and our conference with an in-conversation session with author Magnus Finding on suffering-focused ethics and how antinatalists can have a positive impact on the world. Finally, before we get to our first talk, we do have a few points of housekeeping to cover. We ask everyone to maintain a civil dialogue in the live chat of this conference, as there will be topics that viewers disagree on. We will be moderating this chat where this cannot be maintained. If you do have any questions for the speakers, please submit them via the form that is pinned in the live chat. Questions posted in the live chat itself will not be included. Please feel free to share the conference. You can use the share button below the stream. And please do tag us on X or Twitter or Instagram if you do so. There is an official hangout after the end of both day 1 and day 2 of the conference, which will be hosted on Discord. The link to join is in the description of the live stream. If you would like to make a donation to support the ongoing efforts of Antinatalist Advocacy, please send us an email at contact@antinatalistadvocacy.org. These will be very much appreciated. All sessions will be uploaded onto our YouTube channel after the fact, so you can watch everything on catch up. And lastly, this is our very first conference at Antinatalist Advocacy, so there will undoubtedly be lots of room for improvement. We would therefore be very grateful if you could share your thoughts on this weekend by completing our feedback form that will be linked in our newsletter following the end of this conference. That's all the housekeeping out of the way. Just wanted to thank you again for joining the Antinatalist Advocacy Conference 2023.